How's everybody doing? Anyway, I'll leave this blooper in, but anyway, I dropped something. I'm standing up on a stool, a wooden stool, trying to look down on the layout here, but okay, so you know what I was thinking about before I actually move. Make sure I don't touch the balance here. Okay. Before I move down in this direction, I got to get down to that end down there. Man, I've just been kind of procrastinating down there actually. But I'm going to force myself down the road there. Anyway, but I want to talk to you about a tree. Not these trees yet. Like I'm planning a tutorial for those, but I want to wait till the weather picks up a bit more so I can do it outside with the spray glue and stuff. And I don't want to spray that stuff inside. But anyway, I want to talk about this area here. I want to speak maybe on the topic again. I've talked about it before on scene composition. And as you know, like I don't really have anything in the foreground here, right? It's just the road. Because, you know, I only have 8 feet here and I don't want to block. I don't want to do it anyway. Like even on the new design, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put any buildings in front of the track. You know, there'll be the odd maybe shack, you know, a track side shanty. And then of course I've made an exception with this, right? Right here. Which, you know, is obviously not finished. I mean, there's things on this layout I want to finish, as I spoke of before. Like there's detail like grass growing around these. Like I'm going to show you how I'm going to make those thin plates so they can still be wild. Take them up and down, but look like they're part of the terrain. But anyway, this scene right here, this little vignette, like I call these little scenes within the greater whole vignettes. And they're the combination of vignettes make up, you know, the scene composition. Like you don't really realize it, you know, when you look the way everything's sort of flowing. You know, like it's a difficult thing to explain, but once you get a handle on it and you think in a minimalist way, then you begin to understand it. Like I just want to say at the outset before I talk about this particular spot right here, I've noticed on some channels, like other channels like shelf layout type channels, like you know, they're really great layouts. Like just I love the personality in them. I love, you know, they're immersed in it, they're growing, they're developing and burgeoning, you know, with their skills and so on. But the one thing I would like to say, like, don't overdo the track. I mean the amount of track. Like I was able to get away with sort of a 4-track look here, but it isn't really, right? It's the short spur and the siding here. But there's really not a whole lot of track here. I mean, I probably could have got away with less turnouts here, but I wanted to combine, you know, various operational options with it. But I've noticed a few shelf layouts where they just cram track in like there's no tomorrow. Okay? Like track, like right at the edge of the layout. Like why would you do that? Like why would you run a track right along the edge of the layout so that you reach over and then drag your, you know, favorite cars onto the floor? Like that's maybe one of the tempting things that a lot of people do is they just cram the track. Like they want a classification yard, so they just fill the whole 16 inches or, you know, whatever, 2 feet full of track. Now that's different on a larger layout when you have separate sort of signature scenes and a distinct yard and then a transition to another area or a staging yard. But I don't know why people do that, but each to his own, I guess, at the end of the day. I just think that less is better. So speaking of less is better, I'm going to put a tree in here. Like there was something was just not sitting right with me here, not to mention all the little details, but that's all the fun part that we do on our own, like at the end. Like this is going to be a general pass over this whole layout. Right down to the end. Yes, I'm going to get there very soon. That's my next chapter. But I mean, to come back though and revisit some of these other scenes will be part of the fun too, right? So I just want to revisit this scene for just a minute or two here before I go into a tree tutorial. So there was something just not quite right here, and I don't mind the odd little view block. I mean, this is really the only view block right here in terms of foreground viewing perspective, right? Because I want to see the trains. You know, like they're the stars of the show, so I want to be able to see the trains. So I don't want to block them with buildings. And besides, I think it looks better when things build up to the background. Okay, you know, like if you take an angle like a piece of dowel or something, and then just like, is that your view angle? Is that your perspective? Or is it going this way? All right, we want it to go this way, right? In a short distance like this. Anyway, so then it doesn't take much then for a small view block. And in this case, this building is an exception, but it works because there's, you know, the higher buildings in behind. See what I mean? Like this building doesn't dominate the scene. It's not even a distraction really anyway. It just sort of blends in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a small tree like this one over here, but I'll talk about that later. And it's going to go right here. And it's amazing how quickly the space will fill, even with one little tree. So I'm going to show you how I build a little tree. It's nothing new, really. It's just an evolution of methods that, you know, many people are doing. People like Luke Towan and other well-accomplished modelers. And I'm going to just show you how I'm going to build this little tree right here. And like I say, there's 101 ways to do it, but it'll be similar. It'll be a good preliminary tutorial before I do some of the evergreen trees that I want to do, and then a featured tree like a cedar. I really want to do a western red cedar style as well. Okay, so I want to put a tree right here, and we're going to look at that, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to build that. Okay.